to have you in our meeting. We know that you are a specialist of ancient history and the pyramids. You're especially a specialist of the Bosnia pyramids.
Thanks a lot for the invitation. My name is Dr. Sam Osmanagic, and for the last 35 years, I have been researching the pyramids and the ancient history. My PhD, my doctorate, is in Mayan pyramids in Central America. Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador, Belize, and Mexico. I have written 18 books about the ancient civilizations, which have been translated into 17 languages. What I have proven is that almost everything they teach us about the ancient history is wrong.
Yes.
The origin of man, civilizations, and pyramids. They claim that man is the product of the evolution, and that is wrong. We are product of genetical engineering. Secondly, they are telling us that civilizations are 7,000 years old, starting with Sumerians. And that is wrong. Last 100,000 years, we have had 5 civilizational cycluses, one after another. And number 3, they are telling us that pyramids are built in Egypt and Mexico. And that is wrong. They are built all over the planet on all 6 continents. For Egyptian pyramids, they are telling us they were built by the pharaohs of the 3rd, 4th, 5th dynasty as tombs. And that's wrong. In Egypt, there are 155 pyramids, not 118 like Wikipedia claims, because I have researched and described 155 pyramids in Egypt, and not in the single one the mummy was discovered. The mummies were buried in the Valley of Kings, 300 kilometers to the south from the Giza Plateau. Therefore, in 21st century, we need to bring the knowledge about the pyramids and ancient civilizations on the surface. I have proven that in Asia, we have 250 pyramids in the central province of Shanxi. I have visited those pyramids and written about them. There is a beautiful Koh Ker pyramid in Cambodia. There are pyramids in Western Java. Gunung Padang pyramid, discovered by our friend Dr. Danny Hillman, is 26,000-year-old pyramid. There is a Gympie pyramid in Australia, 1.5-hour drive from Brisbane. In Africa, beside Egypt, we have 224 Nubian pyramids. On the island of Mauritius, we have 7 pyramids. On Canary Islands, especially on Tenerife, 104 pyramids. In South America, 300 pyramids in Peru. In Bolivia, we have also pyramids. In Central America, more than 100,000 pyramids. In the countries of Belize, Mexico, El Salvador, Guatemala. So 95% of these pyramids are in the jungle, in the forests. They are still covered by the vegetation. In the United States of America, there are 120 Cahokia pyramids in the state of Illinois, in Cahokia National Park. And finally, in Europe, 3 Palencia pyramids in Spain, 5 pyramidal complexes in Italy, 16 pyramids in ancient Greece. They are older than the ancient Greek civilization, and in the heart of the Balkan region, in central Bosnia, there is a Bosnian pyramid complex, which I discovered back in 2005. So now we can see that the world of the past was the world of pyramids.
Okay, that's very interesting. So you're looking at that for 35 years now. Your PhD in which direction do you have that? Did you make that?
While I was living in Houston, Texas for 20 years, I was traveling to Central America very often.
Mm-hmm.
My doctorate is about several aspects. Number one, Olmecs are not the oldest civilization in Central America, but Mayan civilization. Mayan civilization not only built more than 100,000 pyramids, temples, pyramidal terraces,
yes,
of course, bridges and roads. They were extremely advanced when it comes to the energy aspect and astronomical aspect. So, their history goes back for at least 7,500 years. Officially, it is only 3,100 years, but I think it's probably more than 12,000 years, and Mayans were linked to the previous civilization, which got destroyed 12,500 years ago with the end of the last ice age and huge global catastrophes. Some people talk about the legendary land of Atlantis, and really, in the central part of the Atlantic Ocean, geologically speaking, there was a huge island, 400 kilometers by 150 kilometers, which sunk 3,150 meters below the ocean. So now we can see that there is a link between our civilizational cycle, which started 12,000 years ago, with the previous one.
Okay.
When it comes to the Bosnian pyramids, back in 2005, I first came to the small Bosnian town of Visoko, which is half an hour from the capital city of Sarajevo. I went to see the local museum, but what caught my attention was what everybody called hill. It had 4 sides, triangular faces, 4 corners, and when I took compass showed me that those sides perfectly match cardinal points, east, west, north, and south.
Okay, so one question to that. Really precise towards the 4 directions of the compass, or, so from my knowledge, there's a 26,000 year cycle of the Earth and the Sun around the center of our galaxy. And on this 26,000-year cycle, which I think I heard is a cycle, there's precision of the rotation axis of 2.6%, 2.6 degree. And so is it perfectly in those directions or is there deviation?
You are right. It takes 25,920 years for our solar system to make a circle within galaxy Milky Way, not around, but within.
Yes.
And every 13,000 years, we change the northern star. And within 26,000 years, it is a little bit more than 2 degrees that we are off the cosmic north. Yes. However, the geographical north is fixed because we have only one North Pole. And that is the third element, which is magnetic north. Yes. Magnetic north moves. It moves between Canada and Siberia and back. So when I say orientation to the north, what I mean is orientation to the geographical north.
So geographical north is not a rotation axis?
No.
How you define?
But geographical north is very close to the northern star. Right now, northern star is exactly above the geographical north.
Okay.
So at that time, my compass showed me north. But several months later, we had a team of experts from Geodesical Society of Bosnia. There is a state institute for geodesy. They used instrument called total station to get precise measurement. And what they concluded was that the error from the perfect cosmic north in December 2005, January and February 2006, that the error was 0 degrees, 0 minutes, and only 12 seconds. Now, the information for Egyptian pyramids, the Cheops or Khufu pyramid, 0 degrees and 3 minutes. From Khafre or Khafre pyramid, 0 degrees, 3 minutes. Mykerinos, 0 degrees, 18 minutes. So the Bosnian pyramids have the most precise orientation at this moment.
Okay. According to the rotational axis or the geographic north?
Geographical north, yes.
And what about
geographical north, which is the North Pole.
How you define the geographical north?
It is the location of the North Pole, you know, and the northern star is hanging almost exactly above the northern pole.
Okay.
So geographical is almost the same like cosmic north, and magnetic pole moves about 40 kilometers every year between Canada and Siberia.
And what about the cosmic north? How exactly is it for the time being towards
right now it's almost precisely above the geographical north.
Okay, that means the pyramids had been built exactly in this 26,000-year cycle where we are now.
It is possible, but some of the pyramids, for example, Step Pyramid in Saqqara, has the error of 3 degrees.
Yes.
A red pyramid in Dahshur in Egypt, 0 degrees and 5 minutes.
Okay.
Then we have bent pyramid in Dahshur, 0 degrees and 12 minutes. So these are very small discrepancies.
Okay, and the Great Pyramid in Gizeh, what's the deviation?
Great Pyramid, 0 degrees and 3 minutes.
Okay, what does it mean on this 26,000 years cycle?
Well, it means that it was either built, 26,000 years back or 50,000 years back. If it was built precisely 0, 0, 0, no error.
Yes.
But in order to get if you want to get no error, it's extremely difficult, obviously. But then not only Egyptian and Bosnian pyramids, we have pyramids in Cambodia. I measured with my compass, it's almost perfect. Pyramids in China, almost perfect. All Cahokia pyramids in the United States, almost perfect. Unfortunately, archaeologists there in China or in America or even in Peru, they don't really measure very precisely. I was there with my instruments, I was measuring, and I could see that all these builders were oriented pyramids to the north. But this is not the only element. I have concluded that 4-sided pyramids are the most powerful geometrical shape when it comes to our planet. Okay. What do I mean by that? It seems that pyramids, not only that they were not tombs, but they were very complex energy machines. In the last 10 years, we have had teams of physicists, electrical engineers, sound engineers, communication engineers, and they've been measuring energy phenomena. On the top of the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, they detected and measured energy beam, which is electrical in nature, 28 kilohertz. It starts from the top at 4.5 meter radius. Can you hear me?
Yes, I have some difficulties with the display, but now it's correct. Okay, thank you.
So the energy beam starts at 4.5 meter, it expands to 20 meters, coming back to 4.5, 20, 4.5. So in science, these are called Tesla's scalar waves. Some people call it torsion fields.
Yes.
Main feature of the scalar waves is that they travel quicker than the speed of light. You know how they taught us in schools, you and me, that the biggest speed is the speed of light, 300,000 kilometers per second? Yes. Well, torsion fields or scalar waves are quicker than that, so they are ideal media to move energy and to transport the information between the cosmic bodies. So our conclusion was that the first potential purpose of pyramids was the communication device. The second potential purpose of pyramids is to protect what is the most precious for us, and that is our health. We have noticed that when people go to the Bosnian pyramid tunnels, and those tunnels are tens of kilometers in length, they breathe excellent. Deeper they go, they breathe better and better. So far, we have cleared 2.2 kilometers of the tunnels. People who have respiratory problems, asthma, infections, when they come out, they don't need air pump inhalator for 3 or 6 months. People who have high blood pressure, when they get out, blood pressure comes to the normal. People who have high sugar in the blood, sugar comes to the level of 5 or 5.5. People with the pains, people with sometimes very serious diseases, they show revolutionary improvement of their health.
How long are they in those tunnels?
Usually 1 hour. In 1 hour, people with the light medical stages can see improvement. If you have something very serious, 1 week, 10 days, or even month, they go once or twice a day.
Okay. One question. Did you ever measure the oxygen level in those tunnels?
Yes. The oxygen level is always at 20.9, sometimes drops to 20.5. But how come they breathe so well? In the tunnels, we measure very high concentration of negative ions.
Okay.
Negative ions, that's extra electrons in the air. They are very good because they connect to the dust, they connect to pollen, they go on the floor. They raise the level of oxygen in our bodies so we can do more activities. And most importantly, nowadays, because of this virus hysteria, negative ions kill, neutralize all viruses, bacteria, and fungi. More negative ions, better for us. In your studio, in my home, about 20 to 50 negative ions per cubic centimeter. Very low quantity. If you go outside to the downtown cities, 150. By the rivers, 500. On the mountains, in the pine tree, 1,000. In the Bosnian pyramid tunnels, from 20,000 to 60,000.
Okay.
Meaning it is 50 times healthier than when you go to the mountain. So what's happening in the tunnels, there is a process of cleaning the body from all the viruses and bacteria.
Okay, so you measure a higher electrical field?
No, what we measure, negative ions, this is like, you have atom and you have electron. And if you have some extra electrons in the air, these are negative ions.
I'm a chemical engineer.
Okay, so negative ions.
Yes.
Anion and cation. Negative ions, positive ions. Positive ions are produced by our technology, and they are not good. They are produced by TVs, laptops, computers, microwaves. They make us sleepy and sometimes angry. But negative ions, extremely good for us. We feel very fresh.
Okay. You think they are negative ions or just electrons?
Negative ions. They are negative ions.
Oh, do you think it's negatively charged nanoparticles or?
Yes, well, negatively, yeah, exactly.
Okay, then I have a picture of that.
Yes. Now, this is one important element in the tunnels, and we measure it on daily basis. We have 2 instruments called Air Ion Counter from the US, from the company Alpha Lab. But we also measure many other energy phenomena. Yeah. For example, in the tunnels, we measure 28 kilohertz frequency of the ultrasound.
Okay.
For some researchers, this frequency is so-called levitation frequency. People feel very light.
So they are flying in the tunnels.
If this frequency was strong enough, they would be flying. Instead, they feel light and they walk so nicely, they don't feel, the weight so much. We measure very good frequency of electromagnetism. We measure very low frequency of electromagnetism also of 7.83 Hertz. In science, it is called original Schumann resonance. This is the frequency of our planet until 1990. We are born at this frequency, and this frequency brings us back to the balance.
Okay. Sam, for you, would you say those pyramids had been built by a civilization which was more advanced on a technological scale than we?
The builders of the oldest and biggest and most superior pyramids, they knew very specific frequencies. They knew how to amplify our natural energy sources, and they were getting energy complexes. The pyramids are energy machines that could last forever. What did they apply when building that? They were using building materials with a lot of quartz crystals. Quartz crystal is very important, and as a chemical engineer, you know, when you put the pressure on quartz crystal, you get electricity. Mechanical waves, piezoelectrical effect, electricity. Or electromagnetic...
Would you mind if I smoke a cigarette?
I don't mind.
Fine, thanks.
So electromagnetism hits quartz crystal, piezoelectrical effect, you get the ultrasound. Below the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun is a huge iron plate, iron ore. Iron generates electromagnetism. Pyramid amplifies this electromagnetic field. Below the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun is a water flow. Water moves, releasing negative ions. So now we see that the ancients knew where to locate the pyramids. Also, they applied the elements of sacred geometry. In Bosnia, we have 7 pyramids. 3 major pyramids, the pyramids of the Sun, Moon, and Dragon. When you connect their tops, the distance between Sun and the Moon pyramid, 2,180 meters. Moon to Dragon, 2,180. Dragon back to the Sun, 2,180 meters. This is equilateral triangle. There is unlimited number of triangles, but only one is equilateral, and only one has inner angles at 60 degrees. So this is element of sacred geometry. In other elements of sacred geometry, number pi or p, 3.14, number phi or golden ratio, golden section, 1.618. Exactly. In Bosnia, when you start with the top of the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, then on the line of the golden ratio, we have top of the Love Pyramid and top of one tumulus. So objects in the Bosnian Valley of the Pyramids are laying on the line of the golden ratio.
What do you think what's number phi is the symbol for? What does it express?
Yes. Number phi is the symbol for the cosmic formula of the origin. As you can see, for example, the huge galaxies who have this spiral shape, they actually have the shape of the, golden section. So from the macrocosmos all the way down to microcosmos, even human face, when you start from the nose, your mouth, your forehead, we have golden section.
a face looks harmonic if it expresses
Yes,
phi. Yes.
exactly, exactly.
So I'm also a little bit fan of mathematics, and for me, phi symbolize leadership.
Well, leadership, but also stability, order. So it is very important that we see that the stuff are laid out in that way. For example, the Giza pyramids, they are also laying on the line of the golden section. And the Sphinx is exactly in the middle of the golden section cross. So the ancients were applying the elements of sacred geometry. Why? It seems that it has something to do with the movement of the energy. And for them, everything was about the energy.
And one thing when we're looking on Gizeh, and you know there is a kind of equator starting from the how does it call it, these island in Germany it's called Osterisland, Easter Islands.
Okay.
And then it goes through the pyramids and the Nazca signs, and it goes through Gizeh, and it ends in Cambodia at Angkor Wat.
Yeah, exactly.
In an equator which has a 20-degree to the actual equator. Do you know why they did something like that?
What does it tell us? It tells us that the ancient civilizations knew our planet very thoroughly. They knew where to locate different megalithic and pyramid sites.
Okay.
For example, when you take the Stonehenge, when you take it is northern latitude, you go, it is like 52 degrees time 10 minutes and 42 seconds, and when you take decimals, 10 decimals of seconds, when you multiply 52 times 42 times 10 plus all these 10 digits, you are getting the number of 21,600. That's on the one hand. On the other hand, originally Stonehenge has 30 megaliths staying upright and 30 megaliths laying on the top. 30 plus 30 is 60. And they were forming the circle. The circle has 360 degrees. 60 megaliths times 360 degrees equal 21,600. So the ancients knew exactly where to locate those megalithic sites. And plus 21,600, 216, number 9 as a total, which is the holy number. They were always playing with the numbers and elements of sacred geometry. And the results was always about the energy. The concept of the energy of the ancient was much more advanced than ours. Look at you and me and our society in the last 200 years. First, we were using coal for the thermal power plants, but coal produces dirty industry. Now we are using oil and gas. Oil and gas, limited resources, also dirty industry, chemical, petrochemical, and so on. In the last 50 years, we are using nuclear power plants. Look at from Chernobyl to Fukushima and back, they've been radiating, destroying our planet. Everything we do with the energy is wrong. Look at us, our lights, 220 volts, 50 watts. You touch the loose wire, it kills you. You take the mobile phone, handy, the cell phone. You talk 10 minutes, it kills your brain cells. all our frequencies that we made up are wrong. The ancients were using natural materials, eco-friendly civilization.
Yes.
They were amplifying natural frequencies that are good for our body, that are healthy. Those frequencies, they improve the water molecular structure, food molecular structure, our auric field, our immunity. So they were smarter than us because they lived in harmony with the nature.
Okay. And could you imagine that the pyramids could also had another meaning, not just this meaning of energy, but if you're looking on Gizeh, it looks a little bit like a riddle, which may has to be solved.
Yes.
Yes, you see the three pyramids and the swings. We have to state, though, that those civilizations just went away, just vanished.
Yes.
And could you imagine that in this 26,000 year cycle, that history repeats itself?
Of course. Yes, of course. We think that
they knew something. Is it possible that they discovered something which turned down their civilization? And they want to give us a warning that the next civilization doesn't make the same mistake. Is this a possibility?
Okay. The builders of Giza pyramids or all these Chinese pyramids, all these Mexican and Bosnian pyramids were very advanced. Yes. They could maneuver with tens of millions of tons of material, but they were building the structures that had several levels. Of course, one level in construction level. But when you see the Giza pyramid, the number pi is incorporated there. The length at the base, 231 meters. Two lengths, 462. Divided by height, 147. The result is 3.14, the number pi. But they also had the distance between our planet and the sun incorporated there. The distance between our planet and the moon. They had also the speed of light. When you take from the equator the latitude, 29 times 2997, you are getting the speed of light. It is not 300,000, but 299,000 something. So now we can see that they were teaching us about the major and basic elements of astronomy and geodesy and energy. And you are probably right. They were giving us a formula to figure out the future. Below the Giza plateau, there are 3 levels of tunnels. Now, they have not been open for the public, and they just started opening those. Under the Bosnian, Chinese, and Mexican and Peruvian pyramids, always the tunnels are there. They amplify the energy fields. And finally, one of the biggest secrets, since the chambers in the Great Pyramid are laying on the wave of energy flow, there is energy flow inside the pyramid. It seems that during the special days, when our planetary energy is the strongest, like summer solstice, June 21st, if you are exposed to this energy field, you could even teleportate yourself. It is possible. So it seems that those pyramids, they work on different levels.
Okay.
Yes.
One question to the Great Pyramid of Gizeh. So was now discovered already some years ago that it not just have 4 sides but 8.
Exactly.
And which at the equinox for a few minutes,
yes.
When you see the sun, you can discover that. Do you have an idea why they did that?
Exactly right. During the spring and fall equinox, you can see that the shadow and the light clearly show the line exactly in the middle of the sides.
Yes.
So the Giza pyramids technically is not 4-sided, but 8-sided.
Yes.
And again, it seems it has something to do with the energy, how the energy is bent inside the pyramid. So most probably, instead of negative effects, when you have perfectly straight side, when it's bent a little bit, it gives you some type of the positive energy. Where did this knowledge come from? The most important Egyptian document is called, for me, is called Turin King List. This is a papyrus which is in Turin in Italy, in their Egyptian museum. It's about 5 meters long. In 13 columns, it shows all the Egyptian rulers. There were 3 phases of their kings or rulers. The last phase started 5,100 years ago, and this is the age of the sons of gods. So Egyptians did not call themselves pharaohs or kings, but sons of gods. And we know them. Some of them lived and ruled 2 years, some of them 20 years, Ramesses II, 67 years. Before this phase was the second phase. Demigods, or half-gods, or semi-gods, they ruled 200-300 years. One ruler, 200-300 years. And the first phase were gods who descended from the sky on our planet, started the kingdom. One ruler, God, would rule 1,000 years in average.
Okay.
And they first came.
So did you recognize that I'm 1,500 years old?
Not yet, but you are getting there, about 968.
Okay.
So the gods came 42,000 years ago in Egypt. And this is what is written in document.
Yeah. So we have this fairy tale in Germany. It's called Hansel and Gretel. I don't know if you know that. It's a fairy tale where a brother and a sister was put into the deep forest by their mother-in-law, which wanted to dispose their children. And so Hansel found the way back, because when they were brought into the wood, he left some small stones on the way.
Yes.
And by looking at the stones, they did the way back.
Right.
And I think this is we have to do also. I also do not trust paper, but I do trust stones and the technology which is engraved in those stones. And I think there we can learn a lot more about our real history than reading papers or books.
Exactly, I agree with you. You know, in the last 50, 60 years, we have had great independent researchers. Erich von Däniken from 1967 and his book Chariots of Gods started thinking independently, open-minded. I know Erich, he was in Bosnia, I met him on several occasions.
Sam, one second. On Wednesday, I have a meeting with Erich von Däniken. So I give you your...
Say hello to him and warm regards. Erich, even though he's 84 years old, I think now, Erich von Däniken is still very systematic researcher.
Yes.
However, he doesn't measure. he does not bring scientific instruments and so on. For me, it's very important to measure, to analyze, to date. Okay. So when this papyrus in Turin was discovered, 1820, it tells you a lot about all these rulers. In Sumer, even more important artifact was discovered. It's a huge stone plate. It is called Sumerian King List. It shows all Sumerian rulers. The first rulers came 273,000 years ago. And again, the same story. They came from the heavenly kingdom on our earthly kingdom. And they started ruling Sumer or Mesopotamia. Okay. The first rulers, Alujam, he ruled 28,800 years. Alajar,
how long?
28,800 years.
Okay, Alajar, I have to work on that.
Yes. Alajar, 36,000 years. So now we can see that those intelligent beings were able to come, live very long, and create huge structures. For them, they knew our planet, you know, all the way around, because they were able to fly, obviously.
Okay. When do you think Gizeh, the Plateau of Gizeh, was built?
It is more than 12,000 years for sure. How do I know that?
Yes, I know that. Give me your guess. What do you really think?
Oh, I think they were built by the first gods 40,000 years back.
40,000.
Between 30,000 and 40,000. That's for sure. When exactly, I'm not quite sure, but you know, I'm a scientist. I need to have radiocarbon dating or some other type of dating. But you know, they are telling us that the Giza pyramids were built by the 4th dynasty pharaohs 4,500 years ago. Why is that wrong? You know, when El Mamnun, you know, from the Turkish Empire came 1,200 years ago, they opened violently the pyramid. They discovered the seashells and the sea salt in the lower section of the Giza, you know, Great Pyramid of Giza. And on the plateau, until 2-3 years back, a lot of seashells, but then Zahi Hawass made them, you know, clear everything. What does it tell us? It tells us that Mediterranean Sea flooded Giza Plateau in the past, because Giza is 200 kilometers from Alexandria and the Mediterranean Sea. When was the last time when Mediterranean Sea flooded Giza? With the end of the last ice age 12,000 years ago. And they flooded the pyramids also. And that's the reason why the seashells was discovered there. So my conclusion, pyramids are for sure older than 12,000 years, but since I have not discovered any organic material in Giza pyramids, I cannot tell how old. Yes. But I can tell exactly how old are Bosnian pyramids, because I'm running that project for the last 15 years.
Yes.
And it has become the most active archaeological site in the world. Every year, I have hundreds of volunteers in Bosnia working with us, uncovering concrete blocks, concrete beton blocks on the Sun Pyramid, discovering organic materials and artifacts. Between concrete blocks, we have discovered fossilized leaves from the trees. And it is organic material. Those leaves came during the construction, because the people who constructed the pyramid in Bosnia, they were pouring the concrete blocks, first layer, second layer, third layer. The wind was blowing, bringing the leaves. They put the last layer, but those leaves can give us exact age.
So in the
we
bottom,
did radiocarbon dating, and the age is 29,200 years plus minus 400 years. So we go back for 30,000 years.
It's exact. Okay. So the carbon dating is not such precise.
It's not very precise. Deeper you go, the bigger mistakes. But if the mistake is 10 or 20%, it's still between 25 and 35,000 years.
So it could be one cycle around the center of the Milky Way.
It could be, yes, of course it could be. You know, it, like you said, it is not exact. It's not precisely. You know, some experts are saying that when you have radiocarbon date, in order to get calibrating date, you need to add about 15%. So it could be 33,600 years. So, but we know it is extrememly old. It is not like Sumerian 7,000 or 5,000.
Okay.
Because we can see, as you know, places like Göbekli Tepe in eastern Turkey, officially 11,600 years. But when I spoke to the late Dr. Klaus Schmidt, he's from Germany, 6 years ago, he told me it is between 15,000 and 18,000 years old. Machu Picchu, most probably the first civilization, there are 4 of them, the first one, 55,000 years back. The Teotihuacan pyramids in Mexico, more than 12,000 years. Yonaguni monuments near Japan, on the Pacific floor, on the bottom of the floor, more than 12,000 years. So now we can see all these sites, tens of thousands of years old. We need to change the history.
Sure. When do you think the Great Pyramid in Gizeh was opened? When those chambers, the tunnel system was opened? Do you think this?
El Mamnoon, 1,200 years ago, they violently breaking through a pyramid, and they discovered that tunnels, which we now called Great Gallery. And from there, they were able to go to what we call now King's Chamber, Queen's Chamber, and later on, they went below the pyramid to the third passageways and unfinished chamber.
Okay, how do you know that for sure? Do you believe now in paper?
Well, there is a document which describes how El Mamnoon made his people work for 1 full year, the chemicals they were using to destroy, to melt blocks, and they were working so hard. And finally, what he did, he put some treasure inside, exactly in the amount of what he was supposed to pay them. They discovered them, he paid them, and that was it. So, you know, these are some rather detailed stories. And yes, you are right, they are on the paper. Somebody written that. Is it true or not? I don't know, because I wasn't there.
Exactly. And when was it discovered in the last century? When was it reopened?
The Giza pyramid?
Yes.
Well, since those times, you know, the pyramid has been opened. As you know, Napoleon, 1799, claimed that he went inside the king's chamber, that he spent a night, and then he came in the morning, all in the horror, and he said that he doesn't want to tell anyone what he experienced there. So we know that it was opened in 18th century, when the many French explorers were coming to Giza pyramids, and then 19th century and beginning of 20th century, British explorers were coming.
Okay. So and now, Napoleon shot off the nose of the Sphinx?
Oh yes. Now, when it comes to Sphinx, there are several entrances, not just one. As you know, there is one on the top of the head.
Okay.
Even in 1933, it was still open. People were getting inside the Sphinx. And then the ear, and then after the left pawn below, and then on the sides. And then, so there are like 6 or 7 entrances. So we know that the head of the Sphinx is like a chamber, and the body is a huge chamber, so it's some type of the temple. And below the left pawn of the Sphinx, there is entrance to underground passageways. In 1999, Zahi Hawass from Egyptian antiquities, he formed a very small team. They were digging at nights, and during the days you could see a wooden pallet above the hole, and it seems that they found the passageway, but at the entrance they found a huge rock, rounded rock. They didn't know how to open it because they didn't know which frequency to produce. The frequency opens the gate. So they used dynamite, they entered it, and they went under the Giza plateau. After that, there is a speculation that they did find the Hall of Record, or Library of Alexandria.
When did that happen?
After 1999, 20 years ago.
Okay.
And it seems that he did find...
Library of Alexandria.
Yeah. No, Library of Atlantis.
Of Atlantis.
Library of Atlantis, they did find a lot of documents which shows the hidden knowledge of Atlanteans.
And did you read everything?
Well, that, I don't know. All I was able to read is the testimonials of the cameraman who was filming the whole process. So he spoke freely in 2002. So I read the script of what he was telling. Now, again, it is just a document, like you said. I wasn't there. But when I was there, like 2005 and so, I spoke to the Giza director, to Egyptologists there. Yeah. I asked him, what did you find so far? Did you find the entrance in the front of the Sphinx? And he answered me, well, it's much more interesting what is in the back, but I cannot tell you because it is strictly confidential. I asked him, why is it confidential? The knowledge does not belong to Egyptian Supreme Council of Antiquities or British, government. It belongs to humanity.
Exactly.
This is the cultural heritage of all of us, not only of 1 or 2 countries.
Okay. Knowledge is power.
Yes. And like you said in the beginning.
They want to have it for their own.
Yes. Like you said in the beginning, those who control the past, they control the future. They control the present. In present, we control the past. And what's happening? We do not allow people, community, ordinary people, free people, to learn about the knowledge in the past. It's not only about the energy, it's very important, of course, because the ancient knew the secret of, clean energy and free energy. It is also about our lives, physical life and our soul. The ancients knew about the soul, which is almost forever. Once you have that knowledge.
So we seem to have some technical problems now. The connection seems not to be very good. What do you think about we make a small break of 5 minutes to get our technique here adjusted, and then we meet again. 5 minutes, a small break. So thanks a lot till now for the first.
All right. You're welcome.
So 5 minutes. Thanks.